Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, Diana and the Book Hunt. Today I'm going to kind of shake up things a little bit. I am filming really in the middle of the night. It's like 2 a.m. And that's because I haven't been able to sleep a lot in the past couple of days. And I also haven't been feeling like filming a lot in the past couple of weeks actually. Just to give you an idea, I think that the last video I posted was the Valentine's Day romance recommendation video, and I really wanted to post my January wrap up after that video, but I've been doing really badly health-wise in the last couple of weeks. I've been losing my voice off and on, and I just wasn't able to film a lot in the past couple of, I think like 2 weeks or so. And now that I'm feeling a bit better, we have war knocking on our windows and doors here in Europe. So I really have been so preoccupied with what's going on in Ukraine that I really haven't been reading a lot. I haven't been focusing a lot about on other things than just focusing on the situation that is going on politically. But tonight I felt like, I'm not able to sleep, and if I don't record this video, I'm probably going to be reading news the whole time, which just is kind of getting me even more and more depressed. And I thought, let me just try to film this, but in like a more casual setting where I do it like in a vlog style. So I want to do my wrap up because it's already ridiculously late anyway to post this video, but I really do want to share the books that I have on this list for you with you. And I want to do it in a vlog style, so I really feel like it's a casual talk about the books that I want to share with you, than just kind of make editing clips that I need to work on again for a longer period of time. So I'm just going to try to do it like this and see how it's going to turn out. I've got my laptop in front of me, by the way, because I'm going to be reading a lot of information off of it, so it's a bit easier for me to record this in like one go. I hope I can do it in one go anyway. You also see that I'm really like casually dressed. This is like actually like my sleeping shirt, and I have my blanket covering me, and I can have my scented candle, which kind of helps me relax a little bit. And yeah, let's just do this January wrap up together, and I'll just let you know what happened in the longest month of the winter. So January was really a successful reading month for me. I have to say that I was quite surprised by how many books I was able to read. I managed to finish a whopping 20 books in the month of January. And I found that it was also quite a successful month because most of the books that I read were really 4 or 5-star reads. And that kind of really took me by surprise and that's probably what kept me going as well, because really I read quite a few really good books. So what I have planned for this specific list is really to discuss the books that I haven't discussed in previous videos, because some of the books that are on this list, or some of the books that I read in January, I already discussed in previous videos. I think I'm just going to mention the books that are mentioned in previous videos first, and then I'm going to mention the books that I haven't discussed yet that I finished in January. First of all, I participated in a readathon somewhere mid-January. It was the Romance Takeover readathon. For that readathon, I managed to finish 4 books. I finished Hush Hush by Lucia Franco. I gave that book 4 stars. I finished Just Say When by Kaylee Ryan. That one I gave a sad 1 star. And I read Sarina Bowen's Bittersweet, which I gave 4 stars to. And then I read The Summer Proposal by Keeland. I gave it 4.5 stars, but I rounded it up to 5 stars. So those were the 4 books that I read for that readathon. You can check out the video for that so you can see my thoughts on those books. Just to give you a short like tropes description of each book so you know what they're about. Hush Hush is a age gap taboo romance, and it's really about a girl who ventures into the escorting business. Just Say When is a brother's best friend romance, and it's a new adult romance. And really that book didn't work out very well for me, so I'm not gonna recommend it, to be honest. Bittersweet is a second chance small town romance, which is involving cooking and farming and cider making, and it was really a very, very fun read, and I'm going to be continuing on in that series for sure. And then The Summer Proposal was probably one of my favorite reads of January. It was a really fun, engaging, and yeah, it was really a page turner for me, so I really managed to finish it quite quickly because I was very invested in the story. So, and I do have to say it's a sports romance, which I absolutely adore. So, yeah, I do recommend that one. And you can check actually the other video that I've mentioned this book in, which is a video that I made that focuses on 7 new releases in the month of January. So I mentioned that book. I also mentioned in that video Josh and Gemma Have a Baby by Sarah Reddy. That one I gave 3 stars to. It's a brother's best friend arranged pregnancy story. We have Lucky Leap Day, which is by Anne-Marie Walker. That one I gave 2 stars to. It's an accidental marriage holiday romance. It was fun, but it could have been so much more. That's why I gave it just 2 stars. I also read Made in Manhattan by Lauren Lane. That one I gave 3.5 stars to. It's an enemies to lovers, opposites attract, forced proximity story. And I do have some thoughts on it if you want to check out that video with the 7 new releases in January that I read. It's quite a nice video because a lot of interesting stories are discussed in it. The next one in that video is Love at First Bite by Anna E. Collins. That one I gave 3 stars to. It's a workplace romance revenge story. And then we have my favorite read of the month, which is by Colleen Hoover. It's Reminders of Him. That one is a really emotional, slow burn romance, and I give it 5 stars. It's no surprise that I absolutely adore Colleen Hoover's writing. And check out my thoughts on that book in that video because I really loved it. The last book in this video that I discussed is a mystery. It's The Maid by Nita Prose. I gave that book 4 stars. And I really should read more mystery books because I do enjoy that genre a lot, and I don't pick up enough books out of that genre, so I really need to make it a point for myself to include more mysteries in my reading. So yeah, those were all of the books that I read in January that I've already discussed in previous videos. Now I'm going to focus on the books that I haven't discussed yet. Actually, I think that there is also one book that I did discuss in one of the other videos, but regardless, I'll talk about it in this video as well. So 2022 started off as an amazing reading year for me with the very first book that I gave 5 stars to. It's Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston. This book is a middle grade fantasy book, and I've heard so much about it through different booktubers. I think Jess Owens is like a huge fan of this book, and she has been kind of raving about it in so many videos that I was really, really intrigued by it, and I really wanted to pick it up. And I actually noticed that my audio library has it, so I immediately picked it up. And my impression was really that it was such a wholesome and intriguing and fascinating and really fast-paced story that it really engages you right away. The book is about Amari, whose brother has gone missing, and I think that it's like 6 months after his disappearance that we start to get into the story, and everyone has already given up on looking for him. So she's kind of really, really upset by this, and she really is still trying to find ways to keep the search alive so that she can find out what happened to him. And then one day, mysteriously, she receives this, I think it's like a suitcase or a package, a mysterious package, which actually includes a message from her brother. So she finds out that he's missing for a reason. And he kind of gets her involved into this magical academy, magical school, where she gets to attend like a summer course. And she slowly but surely kind of gets into this world, this academy of supernatural beings and supernatural occurrences. She finds out obviously that also she has magical powers, and we get to see this quest for her trying to find out what has happened to her brother. And she meets a lot of kids there who are either with her or opposed to her. So yeah, it's a really, really engaging story, and I loved it. I know that there's going to be a second book coming out this year, and I'm definitely going to continue on in the series because I was really, really invested in the story, and I really want to find out how Amari will continue her journey. And yeah, I absolutely loved it. I gave it 5 stars, and I do recommend it if you're looking for a middle grade fantasy book. Now, the second book that I read this year is the book which is called 4-Day Fling by Emma Hart. I'm going to be completely honest, when I saw this book in my audio library and I saw the cover, I was like, oh, this is going to be probably one of those quick, smutty reads that's just going to be enjoyable, and it's going to help me relax a little bit. And I didn't expect it to be actually quite engaging and cute, and I felt really a very nice connection to both of the characters within the book. It's like a fun, quick-paced fake dating romance. It revolves around Poppy. I do have to say, I've mentioned it before, I don't like that name for a heroine, but I'm just going to disregard this slight minus point. So it's about Poppy, and then we have, what's his name? Did I mention it here somewhere? I don't remember what his name is. Anyway, Poppy needs to attend her sister's wedding, and she desperately needs a date for the wedding. So she has a one-night stand a couple of days prior to the wedding, and because the guy is really, oh my god, if you're hearing this, I'm sorry. It's like some kind of a wind chime or something that's making a lot of noise. So she needs to attend her sister's wedding. She's looking for a date. She has a one-night stand a couple of days prior to the wedding, and the guy's really cute and fun, and they have amazing banter together. So out of the blue, she decides to ask him. But she does explain the situation, that she really kind of needs a boyfriend to attend with her. So they engage in this fake dating scenario where he accompanies her as her boyfriend to the wedding. And the fun part really starts when they get there and Poppy finds out that he's actually a famous hockey star and her family is absolutely hockey crazy and she isn't. So she didn't really know who she slept with and who he is. So there's a lot of fun situations happening during that wedding weekend. And obviously they catch feelings for each other. So it was really a fun, quick-paced, banter-filled read, which I absolutely loved. I gave it 4 stars, and I'm thinking of it now, and it kind of brings up really fond feelings within me. So I absolutely loved it. Moving on, the next book that I read is another mystery. I managed to finish 2 mysteries in 1 month, which is very untypical of me, but I absolutely love this one as well. It's called The Last Thing He Told Me by Laura Dave, and I gave it 4 stars. It's a book which kind of gripped me already from the start because it has quite so the mystery kind of starts quite early on in the book. We follow Hannah, who is just recently, like 2 years ago, she married her husband Owen. They're in their late 30s, or he's maybe in his 40s already, but she's in her late 30s. So she marries him when he already has a teenage child. So for him, it's a second marriage. For her, it's the first marriage. But yeah, they form a family together, and she kind of the whole time wants to win over the teenager, so her husband's child. Her name, what's her name? Her name is Bailey. And at the beginning of the story, she gets a note from Owen, which just says protect her. And she also gets a duffel bag full of money. And then she notices basically that Owen has left them and that something really bad, something really fishy is going on. Because why would he say that Hannah needs to protect Bailey? What should she protect her from? So that's where the story kind of picks up, and I loved the story, and the audio narration was really good. So I felt engaged the whole time. I loved it, and it definitely deserved 4 stars in my opinion. Mystery stories kind of really need to have a very strong mystery within it to kind of deserve 5 stars in my opinion. So I shouldn't be able to predict anything and be really surprised in the end, or be really affected or gripped in the end to give it 5 stars. This story was really engaging, really interesting to read. The mystery was fun, not fun, but engaging. But yeah, I wasn't wowed by it. I didn't feel that much surprise in the end. So that's why I gave it 4 stars, but it's definitely worth your time. So pick it up if you're in a mood for a good mystery. And then I picked up Waking Olivia by Elizabeth O'Rourke. This book was really hyped by Jess from Peace Love Books. She picked it up at the beginning of the year as well. And I thought, okay, I'm gonna pick it up as well because I have it in my library as well. And I was like, I started to listen to it and I was like, oh my god, this book sounds so familiar. I didn't really check it on Goodreads to see the synopsis of it. I just saw that Jess talked about it and I was like, okay, I'm gonna pick it up. And like halfway through, I'm like, I think I've read this book before. And then I went into Goodreads and I saw that it's actually a book that I read before. But yeah, I gave it 4 stars when I read it first a couple of years ago, and I still maintain the same rating. I love the book. It's still a 4-star read for me. It's a very angsty story about this college student, Olivia, who is a track runner. She used to go to a college where she got kicked out because of some behavioral issues, and she moves to a new school, and she has a romance developing with her track coach. Now, it is a forbidden romance, obviously, because he's her coach, but there isn't a very big age gap, so it's not like a forbidden romance in that aspect. And there is a very interesting issue with Olivia, which impacts her running and also her behavior that I don't want to spoil too much about. But yeah, it's a very angsty and a very kind of slow burn story. So that's a very kind of how do you say it? It's right up my alley because I love slow burn romances and I love a lot of angst within a book. New adult stories kind of have worn out their appeal to me in some respects, but this one really worked very, very well for me and I loved it. So it definitely deserves a 4-star rating. And then I picked up Naked Love by Jewel Ian. So I love this author's work. I've rated most of her books and I think a couple of 5 stars. And this one is no exception. I rated it 4 stars, and it was quite a surprise for me that I eventually gave it 4 stars, because I have to say that this book really reminded me of Tessa Bailey's It Happened One Summer, and I really disliked that book. I really, really disliked it. But when I started reading this book and I got into it, while I did find similarities in certain respects, I found that it was executed on such a better level and in such a better way, in my opinion, that it kind of redeemed this kind of a story, this kind of story where it has certain types of tropes which I don't typically like, or types of characters maybe that I don't typically like. The story is a story about Avery. She finds out her much older boyfriend is cheating on her, and she kind of relies on him. She's very dependent on him financially, but she doesn't think about it twice. She breaks it off with him. She takes his expensive car and crashes it, and then she takes her sister's dog, I think, and then goes to visit her dad to kind of vent and regroup and see what she's going to do. But when she gets to her dad's place, she finds out that he actually met someone online and he's actually planning on marrying that woman, even though he hasn't seen her before. So she's kind of worried about his situation and decides to go ahead and move together with him to his new wife's house to see what she's about. When she gets into that new town, she finds out that her dad is really happy with that woman, so she can go ahead and move back to LA, where she needs to pick up her life where she left off and see how she's going to support herself. Because her ex cut her off financially, she's kind of in a dire situation of how she should return to LA, and there is this guy in that small town who is going to make his annual road trip, like a vacation road trip that he does every year, and he offers her a ride. Problem with the whole situation is that Avery is really entitled and really kind of a character that I don't typically like. Very in the beginning, she seems like kind of superficial and shallow. And the guy in the story, he immediately picks up on that and he dislikes her immediately. So they have kind of a really enemies to lovers eventually story. The guy, his name is Jake, I think. And he really puts her in her place. He puts Avery in her place on many occasions, and they have really fun banter together, and they have really kind of a they prank each other in certain situations, which kind of gets out of hand at certain points, but that's really the fun appeal within the story, because he really doesn't take her too seriously and he doesn't take any crap from her, which I loved, which we didn't see in It Happened One Summer. So I love that about the story, and their development of their relationship really was more realistic to me. And Avery really kind of learned to develop herself and to stand up for her own needs and for and also to try to be more independent and not just to be an entitled brat or an entitled kind of a gold digger. So yeah, I did love that about the story. It was well executed. It deserved 4 stars, even though it's not the typical type of story that I like. It was really, really well done. And now I'm going to talk about another one of the books that I absolutely loved. Another 5-star read, which deserves all of the hype that it's gotten in the past couple of months. It's 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. This book is just the swooniest, most marvelous romance in certain respects. I absolutely loved it because it also is evolving in very specific ways, because we get past perspective and present perspective for the characters, and we fall in love with both of the situations, at least I did. We follow Eva and Shane, who met when they were teenagers, and they lived like a short week together. But within that week, they had such an impactful and such a packed relationship together. A lot of things happened within that week. So, yeah, we get bits and pieces, first from the past and then from the present. In the present story, they meet 15 years later at a book conference because both of them have become writers. Eva has become an erotica writer, while Shane is a fiction writer, and they haven't seen each other for many, many years. And when they meet each other, there's an immediate chemistry again and connection, but they kind of need to work through what happened to them in the past, and also whether they're compatible at all now in their future. And also, Eva has a teenage daughter, which needs to be taken into consideration within their relationship as well. And this book was just so marvelous, so realistically done. So the romance is epic, absolutely epic. I loved it. And I think this will be a book which I'll gladly revisit, because there are so many amazing moments, so many amazing quotes that I absolutely loved. And yeah, definitely worth the 5-star rating, definitely worth all the hype that it's gotten on BookTube, and pick it up. If you haven't yet, it definitely is worth it. And then if you read, or no, actually, if you saw the reading vlog that I did for the readathon, I was kind of wanting to pick up a reverse harem book because I've never read one of those, and I know that a lot of people are picking reverse harem books up in the past couple of months. They've kind of gained a lot of popularity, so I kind of wanted to try one out to see if it will work out well for me. And I found one in my audio library. It's by Krista Wolf and it's called Snowed In. It is kind of short, so I don't know if it's classified as a novella or as a full-length novel, but it was quite short. I think it was like 4 hours or so, 4 hours audiobook, or 5 hours or so. It wasn't very, very long. And the book is about Morgan, who goes on this college retreat in the Italian Alps, I believe. And she goes off of a ski slope and an avalanche catches her and she gets lost because of that avalanche. She gets snowed in, and there's this guy who rescues her. He's also part of this student retreat group of theirs. His name is Shane. He had noticed her, that's why he went after her. Actually, when she went on the ski slope, he kind of gathered courage to kind of go after her and try to meet her, but the avalanche caught up to him as well. So they meet and they have this really hot and steamy encounter when they meet. And after that, they kind of look for shelter. They find this abandoned hotel, and there they meet Jeremy, who is one of Shane's friends. And Morgan gets frisky with him as well. And then the last person to join the party is Boone, who is this huge macho kind of guy, but also kind of broody, mysterious, and different type of guy than the other two. He joins in on the party as well. That's why it's a reverse harem. And yeah, it was just a very, very hot and steamy read. Nothing to write home about, to be very honest. It wasn't like a wow read, but I did have fun with it. Maybe because I was really curious about the trope itself, the reverse harem trope, that I really, really wanted to pick it up, and I liked it. It was a 3-star read for me, and I'm definitely going to try out another one in the future. And how many books do we have left? Because I've been talking for like half an hour already. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. This is going to be really long. But anyway, I want to finish this today because I really want to post it as soon as possible. I have 3 more books. The first one is Maybe in Another Life by Taylor Jenkins Reid. If you've seen any of my previous videos, you will know that last year I discovered Taylor Jenkins Reid. I read The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and I also read Daisy Jones and the Six. And I absolutely love both of the books. They were in my top 10 for 2021, so I really want to work through this author's backlist because I'm quite sure that I'm going to love most of the things that she has written. This book was no exception. It wasn't a 5-star read, I have to say. The other 2 books that I read by her are, they kind of impacted me in a more specific way, but I did love this story. It had a very different type of, it invoked a very different type of emotion in me. It's a story which kind of intrigues a lot because it involves a dual perspective in life. What I mean by that is we follow the main character Hannah, who recently she moved back to LA, her hometown, where her best friend Gabby lives. She goes out with Gabby on the first night that she's back in LA, and they meet up with old friends, and one of the friends is Ethan, who is Hannah's first love. And what happens is we get in each chapter the different perspectives, or actually the different life perspectives of what would have happened if Hannah had made 2 separate decisions on that night. If she had chosen to go home with Ethan, then her life would kind of continue in one way. If she didn't go home with him but went home with Gabby, what would happen in that case? So there's 2 life perspectives that we follow for the same character. And because there's 2 life perspectives, we also have 2 love interests within the book. Now, I was a bit worried about that part because I kind of thought that there's no way that I would be able to love both of the male leads in the same way, or kind of in an equal way. I thought that I was bound to like one of the main character, or one of the love characters, love leads, or however you call them, love interests. that I was going to love one of the love interests more than the other. But because the two perspectives were so different from one another, I loved both of them. I couldn't choose which one I preferred more than the other. So yeah, it was a really, really interesting read, and I loved how it ended. I loved both the endings essentially, because we get two endings as well. I loved it. I have to say that I was surprised that I loved it, because like I mentioned in the beginning, I was a bit worried whether I was going to like it, but it was such an amazing read. It definitely deserves at least 4 stars, and I definitely recommend it. Now, the next book I picked up because Brie from In Love and Words recommended it on her channel. It's called Escort by Skye. And that book, I have to say that I do understand why Brie loved it, but it really didn't work for me. I gave that book 2.5 stars. I couldn't connect with either of the main characters. The book is about Hugo, who is a male escort, and Bee, who is she has agoraphobia, so she is afraid to go out. And she is wealthy, so she hires him to help her lose her virginity. And it's quite a smutty book. I don't mind it. I like smutty books. That's not the problem. But the problem was really I couldn't connect with both of the characters. I didn't feel their chemistry too much. Also, the audio narration was really at times cringy for me, because it's read by an author who is, I don't know if he's doing a French accent or whether he is French and has this French accent. And also it's only read by this male narrator who is doing both the female and the male voice, and it just at times really didn't work well for me. So I kind of got maybe detached from the story because of that. So yeah, I gave it 2.5 stars. It wasn't my cup of tea. I do get why Brie liked it, because there were certain things and situations that were really well executed, but yeah, it just wasn't my thing. And then last but not least, I'm going to talk about the book that I've been putting off for a few months now to read, but I finally managed to finish it at the end of January. That is The Spanish Love Deception by Elena Armas. This book has been so hyped up on BookTube, and I think also on BookTok, that I really, really wanted to pick it up, obviously, because when I see so many people talking about it and a lot of people were raving about it, I really wanted to see what it's about, whether I'm going to like it as well. I heard that it's a slow burn. I love slow burn romances. I hate insta-love romances. So when I hear that a romance is a slow burn romance, I really, really want to pick it up. And I was putting it off because even though I was really curious about it, I was also really afraid, because I get intimidated when a book is really hyped up. I get intimidated by the fact that, yeah, a lot of people tend to like it when it's hyped up, and then if I don't like it, I'm kind of starting to doubt myself, like, what is wrong with me? Why is everyone liking it and I'm not? And it's kind of how do you say it in Bulgarian? We say it's like a knife with two edges when something is that hyped up. And also I kind of felt intimidated, because when I did see that I have this book in my audio library, I saw that it was really, really, really long. And I was like, a romance book that long is really out of the ordinary. So I kind of put it off. But then I really wanted to know whether I'm gonna like it, so I picked it up. And I gave it 4 stars. I did love it. but it was really way too long. This book could have been at least like 80 or 100 pages less than what it was, but it did have a lot of tropes that really work well together. That's why I think that a lot of people like this book. It's an enemies to lovers, workplace, fake dating romance. And we have a pining hero, which is really very intriguing and very emotionally manipulating for us women, I think. But yeah, the book is about Catalina, who needs to go to her sister's wedding, similar to like the 4-day fling, I think, that book. So she needs to visit her sister's wedding, but she really needs a boyfriend or a date at least to bring to the wedding, because her sister is marrying a guy who is her ex's brother. So essentially, the best man in the wedding is going to be her ex. And because she knows that her ex is already in a new relationship, she wants to kind of be on the same level as him and bring a date to the wedding as well. Now the main, or actually the love interest, Aaron, he finds out that she needs a date very desperately, and he offers himself for the occasion to go to her sister's wedding in Spain, by the way. So there's a lot of nice things going for this book. There's a wedding in Spain. There is fake dating. There is this workplace forbidden aspect. There is a lot of fun situations because of the wedding activities, which kind of yeah, they work really well to pull on your heartstrings, so you can connect with both of the characters really well. And yeah, I did love the romance between the characters. I love that we had a hero who is pining for the main character, and it just really worked well. The fake dating aspect as well. But again, this book could have been at least like 80 or 100 pages shorter, so I couldn't give it 5 stars. It's a 4-star read for me, but I'm definitely curious about the next book that this author is going to bring out. I think this is her debut, so I'm going to be looking out for the next book that she's going to be bringing out. And that's about it. This is all from me for this reading vlog. I read 20 books, and this is why this vlog kind of style of a wrap-up is so long. Thank you so much for sticking with me for so long, and I hope that I'll be able to organize myself a bit better for the next couple of videos that I have planned to make. I'm going to try to kind of detach myself from the current situation with what is going on in the world, because I was really affected. I have to be honest, I was really affected in the last couple of days, and I really have to focus on more positive things. I have to read more, because the last week I haven't been reading too much because of what was going on. But I'm going to focus on the books that I have on my reading list. I think I'm going to be picking up, let me just show you, this book quite soon, because I've heard a lot of good things about it. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. Thank you again for sticking with me. Sorry, it's like 3 a.m. already. I'm not articulating myself very well. Thank you for being with me today. I hope to see you very, very soon. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. Also like my video and follow me on Instagram. Let me know what you would like to see on my channel in the future. I have a couple of videos planned, but still let me know what you would like to see, so I can kind of plan ahead and kind of pick up books that you would like to see that I can talk about. And I hope to see you very, very soon. Have a wonderful day. Take care, and bye-bye.